Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is November 1st, 2012. This is Texan TV News from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Shawnee Wagner. In today's headlines, Tarleton State University holds its annual Halloween rodeo with 3 Tarleton students taking home the top prizes. Stephenville Chamber of Commerce hosts its Safe Trick-or-Treat event on the Stephenville Square. San Antonio schools introduce new technologies to get students interested in reading. A smoggy haze from a 100-year-old volcanic eruption is covering Kodiak Island. A South African census reveals great discrimination between the rich and poor, as well as today's sports and weather. Now today's top story. Tarleton State University held its annual Halloween rodeo Wednesday night. Students and fans packed into Lone Star Arena to see a great rodeo. The contestants were dressed in costumes in every event, from the rough stock events to the timed events. The costumes ranged in every event, from women in the breakaway roping dressed as Batman and Robin to men as Barbie and Indians. Lacey Massey was able to capture live footage. These costumes seem to add to the excitement of the event, not only for the fans, but for the contestants as well. One steer wrestler felt the need to cartwheel down the arena after a run. The rodeo may have been fun, but like any rodeo, the contestants were there to compete. Tarleton University student Richie Champion won the title in bareback riding, Trey Hubbard won in tie-down roping, and Casey Harmon won in steer wrestling. In Stephenville news, the Stephenville Chamber of Commerce held its annual Safe Trick-or-Treat yesterday afternoon. This event was aimed at providing a safe and friendly environment where children and adults of all ages can come out, get dressed up, and get all sorts of treats. Businesses along the downtown square and plaza opened their doors with candy in hand at 4 o'clock, and by 4:30 the lines were stretched as far as you could see. Many other businesses throughout Stephenville even set up to enjoy the fun. The Chamber of Commerce even sponsored a costume contest with 4 age groups, 0 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to 12, and 13 to 16 years of age. Prizes were awarded to the scariest, cutest, and funniest costume. The event was a huge success, and the kids seemed to love the endless candy they were receiving. Now today's Texas, national, international, and sports news from the Associated Press. In Texas news, getting students excited about reading is a perennial challenge for teachers and librarians, but as with other problems addressed with mobile technology, school officials now have an app for that. This week, students and educators in the North Side and Northeast Independent School Districts are boarding a digital bookmobile on a 74-foot 18-wheeled tractor-trailer to find out how to access their district's libraries online, anytime, any day. The truck lets them mess around with a panel of devices, Kindles, Nooks, iPads, to experience checking out an item using their student ID number. The Cleveland-based company Overdrive, which supplies digital book libraries nationwide, built the Bookmobile, which has been rolling around Northside schools since Tuesday. It will make its final tour stop in San Antonio and Northeast ISD today. Civic leaders are pushing to improve literacy rates. San Antonio has signed on to the campaign for grade-level reading, competing with 150 cities and developing community-wide plans to improve third-grade reading achievement. Here and across Texas, though, school districts have reduced library services to cope with state budget cuts, and the federal government has also cut funding for reading programs. In national news, a smog-like haze that hung over part of Alaska's Kodiak Island this week was courtesy of a volcanic eruption from 100 years ago. The National Weather Service said strong winds and a lack of snow Tuesday helped stir up ash from the 1912 eruption of Nova Rupta, the largest volcanic blast of the 20th century. The ash drifted up to about 4,000 feet and traveled across Kodiak Island, prompting an aviation alert. Weather Service meteorologist Brian Hagenbuch said it isn't unheard of for ash from Nova Rupta to create a haze, but it isn't very common either. Officials first picked up the haze on a weather camera Tuesday when the sun was rising. As the day got lighter, the haze took on a brownish smog-like look. He said a satellite image showed a milky white plume spreading out from the northern Alaska Peninsula, and authorities later confirmed the existence of ash particles, he said. Dave Schneider, a geophysicist with the Alaska Volcano Observatory, said it's no surprise a lot of ash remains at the volcano. He said it will be that way for many, many more years. In international news, white South Africans earned 6 times more than black South Africans nearly 2 decades after the end of apartheid, and much remains to be done to reduce the disparities between the rich and the poor, the president said after the release of the country census. On the positive side, people's access to basic services such as clean water, electricity, and garbage removal has more than doubled in the same amount of time. The average household income in South Africa has more than doubled in the past decade, according to the census, which said that the households earned an average of $6,000 per year in 2001, compared to about $13,000 by October 2011. Planning Minister Trevor Manuel said the income distribution among race and gender groups was the most startling of the figures. The average annual income for black households was about $8,000 in 2011, according to the census, while white households earned an average of about $46,000 per year. Meanwhile, households headed by women earned an average of about $8,000 in 2011, compared to $16,000 for male counterparts. In sports, the New York City Marathon is a go for Sunday, and while logistical questions persist, one thing is certain. The 26-mile route will have a disaster for a backdrop and a debate. Mayor Michael Bloomberg said at a news briefing Wednesday, "There's an awful lot of small businesses that depend on these people. We have to have an economy. There are lots of people that have come here. It's a great event for New York, and I think for those who were lost, you've got to believe they would want us to have an economy and have a city go on for those that are left behind." Race organizers were still trying to assess how widespread damage from Superstorm Sandy might affect plans, including getting runners into the city and transporting them to the start line on Staten Island. Easing their worries was news that 14 of the city's 23 subway lines were expected to be operating by Thursday morning, though none below 34th Street, an area that includes the terminal for the ferries that go to the island. The 43rd edition of the marathon is set to include 3 Olympic medalists and the reigning women's champion. Now for today's weather. There is a low of 57 degrees with a high of 88 degrees with clear skies. Today's broadcast was produced by Lady Massey, Alex Zoki, and Savannah Trantham. You can follow us on ustream.tv/user/Texan News Service. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Shawnee Wagner. Tune in tomorrow for the latest from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.